healthy belly, this looks like a pretty healthy belly. A healthy belly has a sense of roundness to it, okay? The American ideal belly, which is this washboard, perfectly flat ab, is not healthy, okay? There should be a little layer of fat. There should be a sense of roundness and fullness, okay? And if there's not, normally, people who are, by the way, people who are hyper athletic and have extremely low body fat are way not healthy, okay, as a general rule. Way not healthy. And many of them are just this far away from dying at any given time. Just this far, okay? For example, here's just another funny Dr. J tidbit. For several years, I was a national bodybuilding judge. For several years, I was an NPC AFWB national bodybuilding judge, and I traveled around the country judging bodybuilding championships. I judged the Collegiate America, the Mr. and Miss USA for 5 years. I judged the Junior USA. I judged all the regionals, mostly on the East Coast because that was easier for me to travel. And I was a professional bodybuilding judge, okay? And I was top echelon. I was national. I had my card. Okay, and I could judge professional. I judged professional women's bodybuilding for 3 years. Professional women's bodybuilding. I was a judge for 3 years. Okay, and one of the things we started getting to was this idea that women were actually dying in competitions. That there was one year, there was like 2 or 3 women that actually came out to do their set on the stage and literally killed over dead, had a heart attack or a stroke right on the stage and died. And it was always normal to have 1 or 2 out of a big competition, somebody who would pass out in the back stage and literally have to be taken with paramedics to the hospital. And what we worked out was it was because they were too low body fat. They were too low body fat. And there's a percentage of body fat that's right for you that if you get below that level, you actually start to have neurologic deficit and you can start to have arrhythmias in the heart, and it can actually cause you to have a massive coronary and die, which is basically malnutrition, right? Basically malnutrition. So one of the things that I learned, and actually the reason why I quit, I actually used to love being a bodybuilding judge. I mean, come on, you got 250 women, there's 5 judges, 3 women and 2 guys, and you're the one who decides who gets the prize. I mean, you get a little attention, okay? At least at the beginning of the competition. Then you leave out the back door with so no one wants to hurt you. But basically, the reason why I quit was because I realized that the industry was horrendously not healthy, and that the competition itself was feeding compulsion, and the compulsions were actually killing people. And once I realized this, I couldn't be part of it anymore. And that's why I resigned and I quit. I resigned and I quit. Okay? And so when I look at high performance athletes, I do not see healthy people. Okay? It's like in that Bruce Willis movie, I see ghosts. I see ghosts. In other words, I see someone who potentially is so unhealthy that literally 1 minute they can be doing their high performance athleticism, run the marathon, win the marathon, and literally the next minute after that be dead from malnutrition. Literally. Okay? That doesn't work for me. That's not attractive to me. Healthy people are attractive to me. So if you're healthy, that belly should have a little bit of fullness, and there's a reason why we say the round belly. The bellies are round. There's a reason why we say that. That's a sign of being healthy. I don't see any big scars. I don't see any big discolorations, okay? And so that would tell me I don't see any huge distortion in her navel, okay? Okay, so I'm good to go. I just check it out, and I'm good to go, all right? Now, so I do my circles, and I do my affirmation and generate the bodhicitta, generate a loving and wellness affirming thought in my head, okay, for her. And I want just enough pressure that I glide, but not so much pressure that I make a rope burn, Okay, it's not my intention to be irritating, okay? And it's not even friction. It's just enough that we call it positive contact, just enough to have positive contact. But not so light that it tickles, because super light is actually stimulating, okay, and tickles. I don't want that, but not so hard that it burns, right? And I'm just going to go 10 times. It's so easy to do it, okay? Now from there, come close. I'm going to come in nice and close so that I can reach over for her full belly with my hands like this. And I'm going to do a technique called the wave, okay? And I'm going to start out nice and easy because I do not know what her tolerance for pressure is on her abdomen. Some people are so sensitive that literally as you reach for the abdomen, it'll push you back. Literally, before you even make contact, it'll...
Should I relax as much as possible?
Yes. If you, on the receiving end, you want to relax as much as possible, and you have to keep breathing. And that's something that will tell me, for example, if my belly client is under stress. Usually, a couple of things. One, I'll feel the tension under my hand, or I'll see a shift in the breath, or even they'll actually just stop breathing. Okay, that means something. And then we still have the big signs of, this kind of thing going on while I'm working here. I have to pay attention to that. All right. Here's the wave. So I start superficial, light pressure, because I don't know if she can even take any pressure yet. All right. So heel the outside hand, and I'm going to flex my fingers up, roll my hand down to the fingertip, and then when I get to the top here, I'm going to pick it up with the inside hand, and I'm going to flex against my fingers and roll the pressure down to the heel of the hand. And see how I pick the fingers up at the end? Now I'm going to pick the pressure up with the bottom hand, roll it up, pick it up with the inside hand, and roll it down. Now I'm flexing. You have to do this on the mat, really. Flex against the fingers to make the hand as round as possible. The palm as round as possible. I'm not doing this. Heel, finger with a gap. Actually, if you think of my finger here as a pressure, where the pressure is on her belly, okay? What I'm doing is this. You see? So where the pressure is, because I flex my hand, it goes from heel, and when I'm in the middle of my hand there's pressure, and when I'm at the base of the fingers there's pressure, and when I get to the end of my fingers there's pressure. And then on the other hand, it starts here, and the pressure wave moves down. Now what that means is I have a bar of pressure that's going up, over, down, and over. Up, over, down, and over. Okay? If you imagine, let's take like one of those great big Ziploc baggies. Put some yellow Jell-O, okay, and some green Jell-O in it, in one bag, right? They're separate. There's yellow and there's green. Put that there. Now do this technique on that bag. And after a little bit, what do you have?
Lighter green.
It's the only thing Jell-O is useful for.
Blue Jell-O. After a while, they'll mix, okay, because it's going to move a lot of fluid, and it's going to mix. This technique moves a lot of energy, and it moves fluid and lymph like crazy. It's also subtly distressing the fascia and connective tissue between the organs, and between the skin and the muscles, and between the muscles and the organs. Okay, so we're going to do this 10 times. So 1. And start out just easy. Don't have a lot of pressure, please. Once you feel the belly warm up, you can kind of start to move in. Now you start to feel that pressure.
Feels good.
Right? And if you're on your period, you could do this till the cows come home. Really, lose fluid like crazy. And that's really what you want to do. Move that inflammation, move that fluid. You want to massage and nurture the uterus. All right, so I do that 10 times. We call that the wave. All right, now I'm going to turn in and visualize the center line of the stomach. I have 3 points. 1, high point inside the ribs. 2, midline, even with the navel. 3, inside of the pelvis. Okay, those are 3 points. Now, this center line is very important because what I'm going to do is called push and pull. Now, I visualize the angle of penetration. Where I'm focusing the energy is about on a 45-degree angle. there's actually a spot in the body I'm aiming for. Okay? So if I take this center line and visualize a thread go right through the navel from heaven to earth and stop, okay, just in front of the spine. Okay, so I have this line goes through the navel and it stops just anterior of the spine, doesn't go through the spine. And now take this line, which we call conception vessel, and project it at that depth in front of the spine. And there's a meridian there, okay, which is not on the chart. You have to look it up in the book as extra meridians. It's actually would be labeled prenatal meridian, okay? And the prenatal meridian is called Changmo. So it's a meridian most people haven't heard of. How many people have heard of Changmo before? All right. What is the prenatal meridian? It's the first one. In other words, it's the meridian that comes into existence in the fertilized egg, which is the first meridian in the fetus. Okay? Before there are organs. There's a meridian before there are organs, and that meridian is called Changmo. That meridian is still there. Okay? But it's deep. Now my angle, I'm aiming at that place, if I could visualize that. Now, that might seem a little esoteric to you. If you just stay off the rib, away from the line enough that you can push in at about a 45-degree angle without touching the center line, you're good to go. Now, I push in with both hands, and then I release and jump over the fence to the same point on the opposite side, using a reinforced spear hand, aim at that line, 45-degree angle, and push in. And now come to the middle point. In, 45-degree angle, and skip over and push in, pull back at a 45-degree angle. Skip over, push in at a 45-degree angle. And again, when you guys first do this, I want very, very light pressure. Don't try to go deep. It takes a lot of practice to sort out how to go deep in the abdomen without unnecessarily causing pain and suffering where you're applying. Okay? So it looks like this. For flow, it would be 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. When I do the wave for flow, I just do once or twice and say in my head 10 times. Because remember, we're not really doing a treatment yet. We're just getting the flow now. All right? Okay, all right, you're up. Let me have one more person.